Night wraps the city in electric silence. Glass walls glow like a waiting heartbeat. A Tesla showroom hums under white lights. Cars rest like secrets behind polished glass. The street outside feels frozen in time. Dark pavement, neon reflections shimmer. Rain taps softly against the windows. No crowds, no voices, just stillness. History holds its breath in the dark. Something important is about to break. A man stands across the street, unmoving, his face half lit by the showroom glow. The world sees confidence in that stance, but fear presses heavy behind his eyes. This moment is closer to an ending. Everyone thinks they know this story. They think it was always inevitable. They think success was guaranteed. Inside the glass, futures sit on display. Perfect curves, silent promise, pure hope. Outside, the night carries another truth. Everything here is hanging by a thread. One wrong step, and it all disappears. Quick flashes tear through the silence. A boardroom table, empty chairs, a bank account bleeding toward zero. Headlines whisper the word bankruptcy. A dream choking on its ambition. Rejection letters stack like quiet insults. Investors turn away, eyes already cold. Engineers wait, unsure if tomorrow exists. Fear seeps into unfinished sentences. Hope feels thin, fragile, almost gone. This is not a story about cars. It never was. It is about survival. The man exhales slowly into the night. Breath fogs the air, then fades away. Across the glass, reflections blur reality. Past and future overlap in sharp flashes. Success and failure share the same space. Years from now, the world will cheer. They will call this genius and vision. They will repeat his name like a myth. They will forget how close it came. They will never see this night. Because this night does not shine. It hides in shadows and second thoughts. It lives where courage meets desperation, where one decision can erase everything or carve a legend from nothing. The showroom lights flicker slightly. A quiet hum vibrates through the glass. Inside, machines wait for permission. Outside, doubt tightens its grip. Time is running out. One choice stands in the way. Step forward or walk away. There will be no second chance. Most people never hear about this moment. It never makes the documentaries. It never appears in highlight reels. But this night bends the future. History quietly leans closer. Because everything begins right here, on a wet street, under white lights, with a decision no one believed in, a choice that almost ended everything and nearly erased a name forever. Morning traffic crawls through gray streets. Engines growl. Exhaust clouds the air. Gas stations glow on every corner. The smell of fuel hangs heavy, normal. No one questions this world at all. Steel bodies rush past in endless lines. Noise fills the space between buildings. Smoke curls upward like ignored warnings. This is how things have always worked. This is how they are supposed to be. Electric cars exist only as jokes. Tiny frames, weak motors, short lives. People laugh when the idea appears. They shake heads, they roll eyes. It sounds like a bad science project. At dinner tables and office halls, the same words repeat without effort. It will never work. It cannot scale. It is too late to change. People didn't say it was hard. They said it was impossible. Oil companies stand like giants, decades of power behind closed doors. Money flows where it always has. Infrastructure locks the future in place. The system protects itself fiercely. Universities teach combustion perfection. Engineers train for pistons and fuel. Careers are built on gasoline logic. Electric dreams do not fit the mold. They feel childish, naive, dangerous. In this world, Tesla is nothing. Not a logo, not a promise, just an idea, whispered carefully, a fragile concept sketched on paper. One strong breath could erase it.
Early meetings feel awkward and tense, rooms filled with doubtful silence. Charts look thin, numbers look worse, smiles fade faster than they appear. Hope feels expensive and risky. People ask the same sharp questions. How far can it go? What happens when it breaks? Who would ever buy this? The answers sound uncertain aloud. Dark hallway, fluorescent lights hum. Whiteboards fill with crossed-out plans. Markers squeak, then stop completely. Every fix creates new problems. Progress moves inches, not miles. Friends pull aside with concern. Be realistic, they quietly warn. Choose something safer, they suggest. Fear hides behind their kindness. Failure feels close enough to touch. Maybe they are right. Maybe this dream is too big. Maybe this world cannot change. Laughter follows the project everywhere. Media calls it a fantasy. Experts dismiss it with smirks. Late-night jokes turn it into comedy. Respect never enters the room. Yet pollution thickens the skyline. Children cough near busy roads. The sky loses its natural blue. No one connects cause and effect. Comfort wins over consequence. Somewhere inside the doubt and noise, a question refuses to stay quiet. What if the impossible is wrong? What if power could be clean? What if silence could move fast? That question does not disappear. It grows heavier with each dismissal. Each laugh adds fuel to defiance. Each rejection sharpens resolve. Pressure begins shaping something new. Behind closed doors, plans evolve. Step by step, failure by failure. Batteries tested until they break. Motors redesigned from the ground up. Learning hurts, but it teaches fast. First solve range, then speed, then safety, then beauty. Each step feels like climbing glass. Hands bleed, but progress continues. Stopping feels worse than pain. The world still laughs outside. Gas engines still rule the roads. Pollution still clouds the future. But somewhere, quietly, stubbornly, a challenge forms in the dark. Because one person hears the laughter, feels the doubt, counts the risks, and decides it changes nothing. The system will be challenged anyway. No permission will be asked. The fragile idea tightens its grip. Fear no longer controls the choice. Ridicule fades into background noise. The impossible feels necessary now. Silence becomes a weapon. The world does not see the shift. It never notices moments like this. Change rarely announces itself. It moves quietly before it roars, and this roar is getting closer. Because while everyone else laughed, while the system stood unmoved, while the future looked locked in place, one man refused to listen, and everything began to bend. The idea does not arrive quietly. It crashes into late nights and long risks. Electric power feels like a calling, not safe, not popular, just necessary. A future pulled forward by sheer belief. Elon Musk does not see a product, he sees a turning point for the world. Oil feels heavy, old, limiting. Electric feels clean, fast, inevitable, even if no one else agrees yet. The belief is simple, almost dangerous. If the future is electric, start now. Do not wait for permission or comfort. Move fast, build first, fix later. Let doubt chase from behind. People mistake this for confidence. They do not see the quiet calculation. Every risk is counted in sleepless hours. Every step forward costs something real. There is no safety net below. Every dream has a price. Tesla's price was everything.
Money leaves faster than it arrives. Millions disappear into silent factories. Machines demand upgrades and redesigns. Batteries fail. Motors overheat. Each fix burns more cash. Reputation starts to crack under pressure. Critics sharpen words like knives. Reckless, they say, overconfident. Headlines question judgment and sanity. Friends grow quieter with concern. Peace becomes a rare luxury.
Phones buzz late into the night. Emails stack faster than answers. Problems multiply before sunrise. Rest feels like a waste of time. Dark offices, blueprints on every wall. Teams argue over fractions and volts. A single mistake can ruin months. Silence falls after every failed test. The air feels heavier each day. Behind the confidence lives a secret fear. Not failure, but running out of time. Technology can be fixed with effort, but time does not bend or wait. It only moves forward, unforgiving. What if the vision is right, but the timing is wrong? What if the world is not ready? The first real challenge rises quickly. Production costs explode without warning. Suppliers demand payment up front. Deadlines slip, promises stretch thin. Momentum begins to wobble. Each decision feels sharper than before. Spend now or stop completely. Push harder or pull back. There is no middle ground left. Half measures would kill the dream. The risk is no longer theoretical. Personal money flows into the fire. Savings meant for safety vanish. Comfort is traded for survival. Everything is placed on one outcome. Confidence stays steady on the surface. Interviews show calm and control. Smiles hide the growing pressure. Words are chosen carefully in public. Fear is locked away in private. Factories hum but slowly. Delays echo through empty floors. Each late shipment costs trust. Each setback feeds the critics. The margin for error disappears. It has to work. There is no backup plan. Failure is not an option. The dream becomes heavier each night. Success feels distant, fragile, conditional. Hope now depends on numbers and timing. A single bad month could end it. The math begins to look unforgiving. And then the warning signs appear. Accounts shrink faster than expected. Expenses rise without mercy. Investors hesitate, watching closely. Silence replaces early excitement. Meetings grow shorter and more tense. Questions shift from vision to survival. How long can this last? What happens if it fails? No one says the worst words aloud, because everyone sees the same truth. The runway is disappearing fast. There is less room to recover now, less time to fix mistakes, less hope than yesterday. And then, quietly at first, numbers start falling in the red. Payments delay, accounts thin. The impossible becomes very real, and the money begins to disappear. The factory never truly sleeps anymore. Lights burn through the deepest hours. Machines echo against concrete walls. Time blurs between night and morning. Work becomes the only constant left. Engineers move with tired precision. Coffee cups stack beside laptops. Hands shake, but they keep working. Every detail feels painfully important. There is no room for mistakes. Early prototypes sit under harsh lights. Sleek shapes hide fragile interiors. Wires snake through unfinished frames. Hope is bolted beside uncertainty. Nothing here feels guaranteed. The first tests go wrong fast. Batteries overheat without warning. Software crashes mid-run. Motors fail under real stress. Silence follows each failed attempt. Dark hallway. Tools scattered on floors. Someone rubs tired eyes in disbelief. Another stares at numbers on a screen. Failure does not shout. It weighs. It presses down on every thought. It should work by now. Why does it keep breaking? How much time is left? They tear the prototype apart again, step by step, piece by piece. Each failure becomes a lesson. Each lesson costs hours and money. Progress limps forward, not runs. Arguments spark under bright lights. Voices rise, then fall into silence. Stress cracks patience at the edges. Belief fights exhaustion every minute. No one leaves. No one quits. Whiteboards fill with revised plans. Old solutions get crossed out hard. New ideas replace them quickly. Nothing feels finished or safe. Everything is temporary here. Outside, critics keep watching closely. They wait for proof of collapse. Every delay feeds their confidence. Every rumor spreads faster than facts. Pressure creeps in from all sides. Inside, belief refuses to die. Someone always says, "Try again." Another answers, "One more fix." Hope resets itself every morning. Stubbornness becomes fuel. Progress is never clean. It breaks before it builds. This mess is part of it. Days turn into long, aching weeks. Sleep comes in short, broken pieces. Families see less and less of them. Personal lives fade into background noise. Only the mission stays sharp. Then one prototype behaves differently. It runs longer, quieter, stronger. The room holds its breath. Eyes lock onto moving numbers. This feels dangerous, like hope. They test it again and again. Each run pushes it harder. Small smiles appear, then vanish. No one celebrates too early. They've been fooled before. This model carries everything now. Months of work rest inside it. Money, reputation, survival. If this fails, there is no backup. If it works, everything changes. Meetings shift in tone overnight. Fear gives way to cautious excitement. Plans extend further into the future. But no one forgets the risk. Success feels thin like ice. This has to be the one. There is no second chance. Everything depends on this. Production plans tighten around the model. Deadlines are carved into calendars. Suppliers are warned to be ready. The launch date becomes sacred. Every hour counts now. The factory hum changes pitch. Purpose sharpens every movement. Fatigue mixes with quiet belief. Eyes burn, but focus deepens. They can almost see the finish line.
Because this is no longer theory, no longer sketches and hope. This machine must face the world. It will either prove them right or confirm every doubt at once. The future narrows to a single point, one model, one moment, one chance. Everything built so far leads here. There is no room to delay anymore, no place left to hide, because the future now waits, not years away, not someday. It waits on a launch platform, held together by belief and bolts, and the future depends on one launch. The numbers stop making sense overnight. Screens glow red in quiet offices. Expenses rise. Income slows to a crawl. Margins disappear without warning. Reality hits harder than any failure. Factories feel colder than before, not from weather, but from uncertainty. Machines slow. Lines pause mid-motion. Every sound echoes with tension. Something vital is slipping away. Suppliers start asking sharper questions. Payments arrive late, then not at all. Trust weakens with every missed date. Phones ring longer before answers come. Silence becomes a dangerous signal. Workers whisper near loading docks. Eyes search managers for reassurance. Schedules change without explanation. Rumors spread faster than facts. Tomorrow feels fragile and unsure. Dark hallway. Fluorescent lights flicker. A notice board stays suspiciously empty. No announcements, no promises, just uneasy glances and forced smiles. Fear hangs heavier than exhaust ever did. Some employees pack bags quietly, not quitting, just preparing. Rent does not wait for dreams. Families need certainty, not vision. Hope does not pay bills. Inside closed rooms, voices drop low. Executives study shrinking runways. Charts show weeks, not months. Every option looks worse than the last. There is no easy way out. This wasn't failure. This was the end. Leadership feels lonelier than ever. Decisions carry unbearable weight. Every choice affects thousands of lives. Sleep becomes rare and restless. The responsibility never turns off. Confidence must stay visible in public,
but private moments feel crushing. There is no one to lean on, no roadmap for this kind of collapse. Isolation becomes part of the job. Emails arrive filled with doubt. Investors grow cautious and distant. Meetings end without commitments. Support fades when risk rises. Belief proves expensive at this stage. Factories edge closer to shutdown. Maintenance slows. Orders pause. Idle machines sit like monuments. Each quiet hour costs survival. Momentum drains away silently. How did it get this far? Was the dream too early? Was the cost too high? Media senses blood in the water. Headlines sharpen with every rumor. Troubled startup, they write. Running out of cash, they warn. Public confidence begins to crack. Inside the company, morale fractures. Some still believe without question. Others brace for the worst. Teams work, but with hesitation. Uncertainty poisons focus and speed. Meetings stretch late into nights. Numbers are checked again and again. Budgets are cut to the bone. Projects freeze mid-development. Every dollar is debated fiercely. The hardest conversations happen quietly. Hiring stops. Expansion plans vanish. Spending limits tighten overnight. Dreams shrink to survival goals. Ambition takes a painful backseat. Outside, the world barely notices. Traffic still crawls through gray streets. Gas engines still rule the roads. No one feels this crisis yet, but it is happening all the same. The loneliness deepens with each setback. Leadership becomes a solitary island. There are no perfect answers left, only trade-offs and consequences. Every path hurts someone. Hold on longer, push one more time. There has to be a way. But time does not negotiate. Bills arrive on fixed dates. Payroll demands certainty. Factories need constant funding. Reality tightens its grip daily. Engineers sense the pressure clearly. Mistakes increase under stress. Progress slows when fear grows. Brilliant minds feel trapped by limits. Innovation struggles to breathe. Some nights the buildings are empty. Only security lights remain on. The silence feels final and heavy. It echoes with what could be lost, a future nearly within reach. Families at home ask questions. When will this end? Is everything okay? Answers sound less convincing now. Hope feels harder to explain. This is what collapse feels like. Quiet, slow, relentless. No dramatic explosion. The boardroom grows tense and sharp. Voices clash behind closed doors. Different visions fight for control. Trust strains under extreme pressure. Unity becomes harder to maintain. Some suggest pulling the plug, cut losses, save what remains. Others refuse to surrender yet. The divide cuts deep and personal. Belief stands against fear directly. Every option circles the same truth. There is no money left to burn, no margin for one more mistake. One wrong move ends everything. The edge draws dangerously close. Factories wait for instructions. Workers wait for news. The world waits unknowingly. Everything balances on a thin line. One breath could tip it. Then it becomes clear. Only one decision remains. No more delays, no more patches. A single choice must be made, and it must be made soon. Because the numbers say time is gone. The runway ends abruptly ahead. There will be no extensions granted, no quiet recoveries this time. The clock refuses to slow down. And somewhere in that pressure, with everything on the line, one last decision waits. Heavy, final, unavoidable. And the clock is ticking. Night stretches longer than it should. Sleep refuses to arrive when needed. Ceilings stare back in the dark. Thoughts loop without mercy. The silence feels louder than noise. Phones sit face down on tables. No new messages bring relief. Every vibration sparks a flinch. Bad news feels inevitable now. Waiting becomes its own torture. Inside the stillness, doubts grow. They arrive quietly, fully formed. Questions repeat without answers. Confidence fades when no one watches. Belief trembles under real pressure. What if this was a mistake? What if it ends here? What if everyone was right? Fear hides behind public calm. It never shows its full face. It waits for private moments, moments when masks fall away, moments when truth speaks freely. Leadership offers no shelter from doubt. It amplifies it instead. Every fear feels multiplied. There is no one above to ask, only mirrors in long nights. The weight feels personal now, not numbers, not headlines. Faces come to mind instead. Engineers, workers, families, lives tied to one fragile dream. Walking through empty offices helps. Desks sit untouched after midnight. Screens glow with unfinished work. Coffee cups cool beside keyboards. Commitment lingers in the air. Dark hallway. Footsteps echo softly. Lights buzz faintly overhead. The building feels like a witness. It has seen hope and panic. Now it watches doubt unfold. Belief does not remove fear. It only gives it something to fight. That fight never ends. Memories surface without warning. Early laughter from skeptics. Warnings ignored at the start. Risks accepted too easily. Confidence once felt lighter then. Now confidence carries consequences. Every bold move left a mark. Every gamble narrowed the margin. There is pride in the attempt, but pride does not erase fear. Sleep comes in fragments. Dreams break into worries. Mornings arrive too quickly. Days demand strength again. There is no pause button. Conversations grow quieter and careful. Words are chosen with restraint. No one wants to say too much. Fear spreads through small signals. A sigh, a glance, a delay. They are watching for cracks. They can feel the pressure. They deserve honesty, but honesty risks collapse. Too much truth can break morale. Too little truth feels dishonest. Leadership lives in that tension, balancing hope and reality daily. The struggle becomes deeply human, no longer about markets or tech. It is about endurance, about carrying weight without breaking, about standing while knees shake. Personal sacrifice creeps in quietly. Time disappears first, then comfort, then peace of mind. Each loss feels necessary at first. Relationships feel the strain. Conversations shorten at home. Smiles feel forced and tired. Distance grows without intention. The mission consumes everything else. How much is too much? When does belief become obsession? Is there a line anymore? The vision still burns bright. That part never fades completely. A cleaner future still feels right. The world still needs change. That truth anchors everything. But anchoring hurts in storms. Waves keep crashing relentlessly. Fear tests the strength daily. It asks hard questions. It demands honest answers. Leadership means choosing pain, choosing it again and again. There is no painless path left, only degrees of loss, only trade-offs without winners. Late nights bring hard math, numbers stripped of optimism, survival calculated in days. Sacrifice begins to look inevitable. Something must be given up. To save this, something else must go. There is no escape. The realization settles slowly. It does not shock or explode. It sinks in with quiet certainty, like gravity finally noticed, like truth finally accepted. Pride stands in the way briefly, then fear pushes past it, then responsibility finishes the job. The choice becomes clearer, even if it hurts deeply. The cost will be personal, not abstract, not shared. A single person will pay it. That weight is understood fully. There is no illusion left. Walking back through the factory helps. Machines rest between shifts. Dreams sit inside metal frames. This is why it matters. This is why fear is endured. The vision still deserves a chance. even if the price is steep, even if comfort disappears forever, even if identity must change, survival demands sacrifice. This is what belief requires, not confidence, commitment. The fear does not vanish, it never will, but it becomes quieter, not because it lost, because a decision approaches. Sacrifice stands ahead like a shadow, clear, unavoidable, heavy. It will save one thing and cost another. Balance will be restored painfully. The night feels different now, not calmer, just clearer. Fear still breathes in the dark, but purpose stands beside it, ready for what comes next. Because to save Tesla, to give the dream one more chance, something had to be lost. The moment arrives without ceremony, no countdown, no dramatic announcement, just a quiet realization in a small room. Everything has narrowed to this choice. There will be no second attempt. Papers sit neatly on the table. Numbers stare back without emotion. Columns show risk in perfect alignment. The math offers no comfort, only truth, stripped bare. This decision is not strategic anymore. It is personal. It carries weight beyond logic, beyond pride, beyond fear. It carries the future inside it. The final investment stands alone, not shared, not diluted. Everything that remains goes in. No reserves, no safety, total commitment, or total collapse. This is it. There is nothing left after this. Win or disappear.
Silence fills the space completely. Phones remain untouched. No advisors speak. No last-minute reassurance arrives. The quiet feels deliberate and final. Outside, the world moves normally. Cars pass, lights change, people laugh somewhere nearby. They have no idea what balances here. History does not announce itself. A pen rests between fingers. It feels heavier than it should. One signature carries enormous consequence. Hesitation lingers for a brief second, then resolve replaces it cleanly. The pen moves. Ink meets paper. The decision locks into reality. There is no undoing this. The line has been crossed. If this fails, everything is gone. If it works, nothing happens right away. No alarms, no applause, just waiting. Time stretches thin and sharp. The hardest part begins now. Days pass in uneasy quiet. Factories continue operating carefully. No one celebrates. No one relaxes. Hope feels too fragile to touch. Teams work with renewed intensity. Every task feels urgent now. Mistakes are not affordable. The margin has vanished completely. Focus becomes absolute. Then, slowly, signs begin to shift. A payment clears on time. A supplier confirms delivery. A deadline holds instead of slipping. Small victories whisper possibility. Do not trust it yet. It is too early. Stay guarded. Production stabilizes piece by piece. Systems behave as designed. Fewer emergencies interrupt nights. Processes start holding their shape. The machine begins to breathe. Investors notice the change quietly. Conversations soften slightly. Questions shift from survival to outlook. Skepticism remains but fades a bit. Momentum stirs beneath the surface. The breakthrough does not explode. It arrives quietly, almost shy. A report lands with better numbers. Another follows, slightly stronger. The trend becomes undeniable. Tesla survives the edge, not comfortably, not securely, but undeniably alive. The fall stops inches from the ground. Gravity loosens its grip. It worked, at least for now. The company still exists. Relief comes in waves, not joy. Exhaustion outweighs celebration. Smiles appear, then fade. No one feels victorious yet. Survival feels heavy, not triumphant. The factory hum changes again, less frantic, more steady. People breathe a little deeper. Eyes lift from the floor. Hope cautiously re-enters the room.
But inside, something feels unchanged. Fear does not disappear with success. It simply shifts shape. The scars remain where pressure lived. The memory of the edge stays sharp. Success does not erase the nights. It does not restore lost peace. It does not refund sacrifice. It only proves survival was possible. The cost is still paid. This changes nothing inside. The fear remembers. The lesson stays. The world begins to notice later. Headlines soften their language. Critics pause their laughter. Praise replaces doubt cautiously. The story starts rewriting itself. But inside the walls, the truth is already known. This was not victory. This was not the end. This was permission to continue. Survival opens a new door. Beyond it waits pressure of a new kind. Expectations rise quickly. Failure becomes less acceptable. The stakes quietly increase again. The all-or-nothing moment passes, but it leaves a mark, a permanent reminder of fragility, a quiet warning etched in memory. Never forget how close it came, because this was only step one, only proof that the dream could live. The real challenge still waits ahead, bigger, louder, more public, far less forgiving. The company stands, but shaken. The vision survives, but changed. Nothing feels easy anymore. Nothing ever will. The cost of belief is now understood. And as the dust settles slowly, as relief mixes with fatigue, one truth becomes clear. Survival solved nothing permanently. It only bought time, because survival was only the beginning. The change does not arrive loudly. No sudden applause fills the air. No banners announce redemption. It moves slowly, almost carefully, like trust returning after betrayal. At first, the laughter fades. Jokes stop landing with confidence. Skeptics grow quieter than before. They watch instead of mocking. Silence replaces certainty. Headlines shift their tone slightly. Words soften around the edges. Struggling startup disappears. Risky experiment loses power. Curiosity takes its place. The public does not cheer yet. It never does at this stage. It waits for proof, for a consistency, for time to pass. Inside the company, something changes. Not celebration, not pride. A steadiness replaces panic. Work feels focused, not frantic. Belief feels earned now. This feels different. This feels real. This feels sustainable. Factories operate with rhythm again. Processes hold instead of breaking. Mistakes still happen, but fewer. Recovery feels faster and calmer. Experience begins paying dividends. Engineers carry themselves differently. Not arrogant, not relaxed, just confident in quiet ways. Problems feel solvable now. Fear no longer dominates every step. Early customers begin to notice. They speak cautiously at first. The cars feel different, faster, cleaner, surprising. Expectations start changing. Word spreads slowly, person to person, not marketing slogans or hype, just honest reactions and stories. It actually works, someone says. That thing is impressive, another admits. This was never about applause. It was about proof. Proof takes time. Public opinion bends inch by inch. Late-night jokes disappear quietly. Critics rewrite old predictions. Some pretend they never doubted. Others move on without comment.
Tesla's name gains weight. Not excitement, credibility. A harder thing to earn, a harder thing to lose. Inside leadership, the shift matters more. External praise feels distant. What matters is resilience, the ability to absorb pressure, the confidence to endure scrutiny. Growth changes the atmosphere subtly. Expectations rise inside the walls. Standards tighten. Complacency becomes the new enemy. Survival is no longer enough. The bar has moved. Now it must stay high. There is no hiding anymore. Success brings a strange pressure. Failure becomes less forgivable. Eyes follow every move now. Every delay becomes a story. Every flaw feels magnified. The team learns new lessons.
how to scale without breaking, how to grow without losing identity, how to improve without panic, how to protect the mission. Step by step, systems evolve, production increases carefully, quality checks tighten further, feedback loops shorten, learning accelerates through discipline. This is not the victory imagined early on. There are no fireworks inside, no sense of arrival, only forward motion, only responsibility expanding outward. Real victory feels quiet, it feels heavy, it demands consistency. The vision matures alongside the company, no longer just bold and idealistic. Now it carries scars and wisdom. It understands resistance better. It anticipates storms before they arrive. Tesla is no longer a punchline, but it is not a legend either. It sits in an uncomfortable middle space, visible, watched, evaluated constantly. Every move counts now. Competitors begin paying attention, not with jokes, but analysis, not with dismissal, but strategy. The industry senses disruption. Old certainty starts cracking. Meetings elsewhere mention the name. Electric plans reappear on tables. Executives revisit shelved ideas. The impossible feels less impossible now. The ripple effect quietly begins. Change never arrives alone. It invites resistance. It invites imitation. Inside Tesla, the focus remains inward. Fame feels dangerous. Praise feels distracting. What matters is execution. What matters is staying grounded. Growth tests culture daily. New hires arrive with expectations. Old values must be taught clearly. The mission must stay sharp. Drift becomes a real risk. Leadership feels a new weight. Not survival this time. Responsibility, influence, the power to shape direction beyond walls. Success exposes flaws more clearly. Weak systems show under scale. Small errors compound quickly. Nothing hides behind obscurity anymore. Transparency becomes unavoidable. This is harder than struggling. This is visible failure territory. This is where legends break. The company learns restraint. Not every idea needs chasing. Not every feature must launch fast. Patience becomes a strategy. Long-term thinking takes the lead. Customers begin trusting the brand, not passionately yet, reliably. Trust grows through consistency, through promises kept quietly. The joke is officially over, but the revolution is not complete. It has only begun forming. Foundations laid through pressure, strength forged through near collapse. And somewhere outside the factory walls, beyond the internal battles and lessons, eyes begin to gather. Curiosity grows into attention. Attention sharpens into scrutiny. Because the world senses change, not hype, momentum, something shifting under the surface, something that might not stop. And as that attention builds slowly, as whispers turn into conversations, as doubt turns into observation, one truth becomes unavoidable. The world has started watching. Tesla mattered because it refused to vanish. When disappearing made sense. When quitting felt responsible. When survival demanded sacrifice. It stayed. And in staying, it shifted expectations. Not overnight, not dramatically, but permanently. The kind of change that does not reverse. The world now debates what comes next. Faster change, bigger impact, more pressure, more watching eyes. But the meaning lives earlier, in the moments before success, in the decision to continue, in the willingness to lose comfort, in the choice to try again. Because stories like this are misunderstood. They are retold as triumphs, but they are built from doubt, from fear endured, not erased, from survival before success. And when the noise fades, when headlines move on, when trends shift again, one truth remains quietly intact. This was never just about Tesla. It was about persistence under pressure, about belief carrying weight, about change refusing permission, about small beginnings refusing to stay small. And maybe, just maybe, this story was never about Tesla at all.